delay. Let's see. So now it is running. Let's see here. Pull up a chart. There we go. Ooh. Yeah, okay, I'm live. Now we can check on the lag. I got everything plugged in. Let's see. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. Oh shoot. Let's do. Hold on. That's one thing I gotta do. Give me a sec. There. Now you should be able to get the feed.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Oh,
There now you should be able to get the feed.
Sounds good.
all right. Oh, yep, we got it. All right.
All right.
So let me tweet that out, and then I'll share it in Spaces here.
Sounds good.
Yep. It's getting easier every time.
All right.
Bitcoin
So let me
30,000.
go out. Oh, this takes a couple of minutes to get it all set up.
Yep. It's getting easier every time.
This is just a I'm
Bitcoin
looking at Bitcoin right now. You can
30,000.
see it on the YouTube stream.
All
But
right.
we are in a marathon consolidation here.
This is just I'm looking at Bitcoin right now. I don't know if you can see it on the YouTube stream, but we are in a marathon consolidation here.
Here it is. Okay. All right. I've got the
Yeah, I really would hope.
link pinned.
It's been here for a while. It's
Oh,
got. I mean, I'm literally just.
yeah.
It's like a suspense thriller. You know, you're like,
Yeah,
is
we
it
should be
gonna
seeing some
is it gonna
action
drop?
soon, I
Is it
would
gonna go
think,
up?
huh?
Yeah, I
It's so
really would
bizarre.
hope.
But what's crazy is
It's
we identified this
it's
30,000
been here for a while.
as
It's
the
got
area. You know,
I mean, I'm literally
that's
just
to me that's
it's like a
kind of cool.
suspense
You know,
thriller, you know? You're like,
we see
is it
30,000
gonna
was
drop? Is it gonna go up?
the
It's
big
so
number,
bizarre.
and here
But
it's
what's
dancing
crazy is
around it.
we identified this 30,000 as like the area. That's to me that's kind of cool. We knew 30,000 was gonna be the big number, and here it's just dancing around it. It just
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm gonna quick do our advisory notice because
sure.
please note that today's conversation is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal or investment advice. We may make forward-looking statements today, and actual results may vary materially from today's statements
Well,
and are subject
it
to
always
risks
starts with
and
Bitcoin.
uncertainty. Please do your own research. You are responsible for the decisions you make. All right. So,
Yep.
what are we
Wish there was
looking
even
at
something to report.
today?
It just seems like we're still at this
Well,
30,000.
it always starts with
I mean,
Bitcoin.
how
Ah,
many weeks has it been
starts and
going
ends with
back,
Bitcoin. Yep.
and we're in the same spot. So it's like it's this
Yep.
area of
Wish there
support,
was something to
a
report.
strong area of
just
This
seems
is
like we're still at that
it
30,000.
does, you know.
But I
So
mean,
just
how many weeks
like
has it
sixty
been? We keep
thousand. We
coming
just don't
back
want to
and we're in
go
the
one
same
way or the
spot.
other. So
So it's
this
like
is
it's
interesting. It's a
this
really
area
interesting
of
time.
support. It's this strong area of resistance. It's just bizarre, you know. Like I said, it just we're at this 30,000 mark and we just don't want to go one way or the other. So this is interesting. It's a really interesting time.
All right, so I just logged into my Aurochs and I am looking at a weekly
Yeah.
chart, and the weekly chart is showing a buy signal.
Hmm.
I'm going to drop that down to a daily. Oof. Now the daily shows a bit of
Yeah.
more interesting story.
Sure.
Yeah,
Um, we've had a number of uh, longs and short signals, and most recently being yesterday's signal is actually a short
Right.
hmm,
on the daily.
sure.
Yeah, it's just littered with quite a few along that path. Lots of ins and outs with not a lot of price action.
Let's go
Right.
to
I was kind of
you
curious
were looking at
what it was
weekly.
saying here, but yeah, from the weekly perspective, that is interesting. It's showing a go to a 3 day once, man. Still showing a
Yeah,
long on a
coming
three
back to
day.
that daily, you
Hmm.
can see we're
Let's go to
definitely
you said you were looking at weekly?
down.
Yeah,
I mean, we're
yeah. I
we're
was
we're
looking at weekly on Aurochs.
bearish, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, coming back to that daily, you can see we're definitely still down.
Right.
I mean, we're
Are you looking at my? Are you
bearish,
looking at my
right?
stream right now? Uh,
Yeah, I mean
yeah.
we're certainly in
So
a
I drew that the
bearish sentiment
15th.
consolidating market
Um,
that
and I think
has a
that was
potential for an
a
upswing.
measure that I took
Right.
Um,
somewhere from the
Are you looking at my
don't know
stream right now?
where,
I
but
am looking at
Uh
your stream.
um,
yeah,
boy, that's going to be an
so
interesting.
I drew that the
If it
15th.
if it decides
Um
to break
and
down,
I think
you know,
that
go
was
above,
a
and it doesn't
measure that
matter
I
if it
took
happens sooner
somewhere
or
from
later,
the
but
past.
you know,
I
Hmm.
don't know where,
we
but
know something. Eventually,
um
this can't
boy,
continue.
that's
It
going to
can't
be an
do this
interesting
forever. You know,
if
it
it
needs to do
if it
something. So
decides
then,
to break down to down or up, and it doesn't matter if it
yeah.
happens
So
sooner or later, but we know something eventually.
let's really
This
zoom
can't
in on this
continue. It just
volume
can't do
here.
this forever.
So I can
It needs
see
to do
the
something.
daily effect
Well,
of
The when.
the stock
what's
market.
our
I can
volume saying
clearly
here? What are we
see the
seeing
bumps,
here?
the
So
valleys,
we're
Yeah,
seeing
and the
so
peaks in volume,
looks
right?
like declining volume.
But it looks like we
let's
had
really
that
zoom in on that
last
volume
kind of
here.
sell-off area,
So I can
and it was
see
after this
the daily
big
effect
rally.
of
We
the
thought
stock
Bitcoin,
market. You
yeah, it's
can
going up.
clearly see
It's after the
the
28th of
valleys
March,
and the peaks
but
in
then it
volume,
got
right?
slammed back down.
But
Okay.
So yeah, there
it
was a
looks
lot
like
of
we had that
selling volume that
last kind
came
of
in,
sell-off
but
area, and it was after this perceived rally. We thought
after
Bitcoin,
that
yeah, it's going
sell-off,
up
it looks like
back on the
there is an
28th of
equal amount
March,
of
but
buying and
then it
selling
got
that's
slammed
occurred
back down.
ever since
So
then.
yeah,
Now
there was a lot. Look at all
of
that
May,
selling volume that came
it
in,
seemed like
but there's
that much
no
volume really, but no,
after
there
that
wasn't like a lot of
sell-off,
buyers
it
and no
looks like
sellers. It
there
seemed
is an
pretty
equal
much,
amount of buying and
you know,
selling that's occurring ever since then. So after the 15th
oh,
of
yeah.
May, it just seemed like
Should I put Luna on
average
here?
volume, really. But no,
Let's see what the
it wasn't like
original.
there was more buyers or more sellers. It
Which one's
seemed pretty matched,
Well, that
you
should be
know?
our Luna. Our Luna drop was there.
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
Is it you think?
Should I put Luna on
Uh,
there once? See what is that the
oh,
original?
sorry.
You're gonna
Which
want
one's
LUNC now is what
Here.
you're gonna want.
okay?
Binance, you think?
It's for classic. I wonder if
Okay.
it. Well, it'll be interesting to see if they changed it
Is
in
it
here. No,
you
not.
think
It's
no?
LUNC, not AC. Just
Oh, sorry.
LUNC.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Gotcha. UNC. Ah, there it is. Binance, you think?
Yeah, you could probably take anybody.
Hmm, that's weird.
Let's
Something's not
see.
adding up here. This isn't right. Oh, because you know what?
Okay,
Let me just
so
do
that's
a.
weird.
Let's do. Oh, let's just go Luna once. See what it comes up with. I'm just gonna
Hmm.
Let's see what this looks
That's
like.
weird. No, something's not adding up here. This
No,
isn't right.
same thing. Huh.
Oh, because
Looks like
you know
they
what?
took away the
Let me
history on
just
it or
do
something.
a.
Which is
Let's
weird.
do.
So I can't really
Oh,
see.
let's just go Luna once. See what it comes up with. I'm just gonna.
I'm not,
I want to see what this looks like. No, nope, same thing. Huh. Well, looks like they took away the history on it or something.
oh, here's one.
Which
Here's
is
one.
weird.
Here's one. Here's
So
one.
I can't really
There we
see.
go. That's right there. That's good.
Well,
Look,
that goes by
can you see that
proportion,
in
though,
light?
right? So they've had a few more
Yep.
downswings.
Yeah.
Maybe you gotta do
The
like a
mass of
Oh,
weekly
here's
amounts
one.
chart
and
or
the
Here's one.
high
Here's
volume.
one. Here's
Yep.
one.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
There we go. That's right there.
And then
That's
it
good.
stabilized after
Can you
that,
see that in orange?
and
Yeah,
now here
perfect.
we
That's
are. There we
exactly
go.
it,
We're
right?
stuck at that
Yep,
Yep.
that's it.
30
Yep.
mark.
So that
And it's
matches
yeah, it's
right up
average
with
volume
that
now. So I guess
high
The
volume,
massive
high
amounts.
yeah,
Yep.
so we
Yep.
have
See
sell
all
the
that
volume,
volume.
right?
swan
Yep. Yep.
event,
Yep.
Mm.
Yep.
the stock market,
And then it
was
stabilized after
a
that,
little
and
downside
now
pressure. Then
here we are. We're stuck at that kind of
Bitcoin
30
dropped a bit,
mark, and it's yeah average volume
but
now. So
there's a
I
rally.
guess
You know,
yeah, if we have another
I just
black
want to know
swan
how long this
event,
thing's.
maybe
What's
stock
that?
market has another little downside pressure, then maybe that could pull Bitcoin down with it. Or if there's a rally, you know, I just
Well, I'm
want to know how
showing
long this thing's. What's that?
I'm showing on a number of these charts. So I'm looking at a weekly chart, and the weekly chart's showing a buy. Um, a 10-day isn't showing anything. The last
Yeah,
signal we
that's
had
kind
on
of
a
cool
10-day
how you can go in Aurochs and they give
um,
you all those. They open up all
was
those
on
different
the
time frames for you,
18th,
don't they?
and that was a short.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's
And
kind of cool how you can go in Aurochs and they give you all those. They open up all those different
Right.
time frames for you, don't they?
it's all sorts of great stuff up here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, and we're really not showing anything
well, look at
good
this here. Look,
right
I'm
now
on the weekly,
Yeah.
on a
and
monthly
back in
chart.
July of
Right.
2021, we
Yeah, it's just
we
kind of
retraced about 50%
wait and
from
see when
Well,
the true
rally
strength
starting in
indicator is
January
showing some pretty strong
of 2020,
divergence.
hit its peak
look at
somewhere
this here. Look, if
March of
I'm on the
2021.
weekly,
We
and if you
retraced
look back
roughly,
on
looks
Hmm
like it was
July of
50%. You know,
2021,
can you see
we,
that?
we
And
retraced about
kind of where we
50%
are now. But
from its
anyways,
rally starting somewhere October of
made that
2020, hit its peak
new
somewhere
high
looks like
right
March of
in
2021,
November of 2021.
retraced
Now
roughly looks like it was
retraced back
50%.
down.
You know,
You
can you
see
see
the
that?
original
And
area,
and
Right.
and
that's
Hmm
do it again.
kind of
So
where we
that
are now.
bottomed.
But
It looks like
anyways,
March of 2022, and now
made that
here we are. So
new high
really,
right
it's
in
crazy.
November of
Yeah, we
2021, now
could dip down,
retraced
right? Like
back down
we drew these blue
to
lines
hmm
here.
its original area, and then it
Took
tried to
the
do it like a dead cat
the
bounce. It looks like
continuation
in
of this move, and we
March of
applied it
2022,
here.
and
We would
now
have ended up somewhere
here we are.
down
So
here near
really, what's
16,000.
crazy is
But
yeah, we
now the
could
other thing
dip
that could
down, right? Like
happen
I drew these blue
is
lines in here
we
because
could
you know
see,
we took the
where's
the
the trend line?
continuation from this move and we
Somewhere
applied it to here, we would
here.
have
Looks
ended
like
up
we
somewhere
could
down here at
just bring right
15,000.
back up to
But
the 60s.
now the other
You know,
thing
and
that
it
could
may not be a
happen
straight line, but if you look at this
is
weekly,
we
it's
could
not
see,
unrealistic, is it?
let's draw the trend line, somewhere, who knows when, we could just spring right back up to the 60s. And it may not be a straight line, but if you look at this weekly, it's not unrealistic, is it?
No, that's just I'm hearing, you know, a lot of sentiment about that as a potential for this upcoming 3 to 6 week period, and that being pretty much the final run for this series. And I would assume that would just be mass amounts of exit liquidity that coming in, with large players pulling out with the recession coming. We're
Hmm.
seeing
Yeah,
lots
and
of headlines right now where
and this
um,
could be perceived.
everything from Elon Musk
If I take my line,
um,
let's get it out here.
to
We do see
Rocket Mortgage,
we
and
do
so
see
many
a
people are cutting
potential
back.
in the weekly.
Hmm.
We see a head and
Um,
shoulders pattern, kind of
Yeah,
here's the
and
shoulder, here's the head,
and this
and
this
this
could be
could be
perceived.
visualized as a shoulder.
if I take my
And we
line and
did.
just get it out here,
Now we're
I
at
mean, we do
the
see, oopsie
origination
daisies,
support area.
we do see a
It
potential,
danced a
like
little below,
in
but
the
that could
weekly, we see a head and
that could have
shoulders
been
pattern. Kind of here's the
who knows?
shoulder,
Maybe
here's
it
the
was pulling
head,
that down.
and
Right.
this could be
So yeah,
visualized
here we are
as
at
a shoulder.
support,
So, and we
Sure.
did now we're at
yeah,
the origination
I guess
support
we'll find
area,
out. It's going to
which
break down
it
below or it's going to
danced a
bounce
little below, but
above.
that
But
could have, that could have
eventually,
been
it's got to do something.
Luna that was, really
And I
pulling
think
that
that's
down.
the part that really has
Um,
people confused.
so
They
yeah,
no
here
one
we
can
are at
really call it.
support,
They,
and
there's no way to
yeah, it
call it.
just either,
It could go
I
either
guess
way,
we'll
literally.
find out. It's going to
I
break down
can't even
below or
put
it's going to
odds
bounce
on one
above, but
or the other because it's
eventually
just
it's
of
got to do
Bitcoin
something.
historic erratic
And I think that's the part that
behavior.
really has
You
people
know,
confused. No one can really call it. They just, there's no way to call it. It could go
yeah.
either way. Literally, I mean, I can't even put odds on one way or the other because of Bitcoin's historic erratic behavior, you know.
I got a chart I wanted you to take a closer look at.
Sure.
So I've
Yeah.
Is it
been doing some research here on an upcoming session I'm doing later this week,
Sorry.
and
So
Litecoin.
can I go to
Take a
Coinbase?
closer look at what's going on with Litecoin.
Sure.
There we
Is
go.
that
Oh, I got lines drawn here.
LTC.
LTC?
Yeah.
Here it
Let me
is.
get
So
rid of
let's
my
just make sure I
name.
pull just, oh, sorry, crypto.
Wow.
So
Got
can I go to
lines
Coinbase, you
drawn
think?
from just a long
Sure.
time ago.
Let's see.
There we go. Oh, wow, I got lines drawn here. What the heck? Let me get rid of my EMA here.
To monthly?
Wow, I got some lines drawn from just a long time ago.
Yeah. Now, when you do a zoom out on
On
this,
weekly, yeah.
To
we're
monthly?
Okay.
yeah, you could go, let's see. If you go out, where are you at now? Are you at a daily
Yeah.
or a
I'm
weekly?
weekly, yeah.
Weekly. Oh, that's not bad. That's good.
Right.
I mean,
Okay.
okay, so you can see here we're at a very interesting point, right? I
That's
mean,
28.
if we broke down
I
anymore,
would
we'd
say
really be
psychological
coming down to
30 mark.
some strong resistance, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Or excuse me, strong support.
right.
Um, yeah, right in that area there. What are we looking at for a price point?
That's 28 roughly. So you might as well say the psychological 30 mark,
30, 30.
really. Yeah,
So
yeah.
we could see a 50% drop yet. I tell you
Right.
what, okay. So I've been doing some deep dive, and they've instituted a side chain called Mimblewimble. Okay, so and their version of it is MWeb, Mimblewimble uh, extended block.
Hmm.
And what it does is it allows private transactions to occur
Hmm.
where that information isn't broadcast out on the general ledger.
Hmm.
So it's pulled off to the side. It's very interesting.
Hmm.
And I think that when we look at um, the privacy coin arena, we've got things like Zcash and Monero. This stands out to me because with it being an opt-in side chain with the amount of uh, prevalency and acceptance that it has, it seems like there really could be some interesting upside movement and interest in this on the next run because it's the way the implementation, if I'm understanding this correctly, the way the implementation is working is that your exchanges that are complying with KYC AML, they are not going to be tapping into the side chain, but you
Hmm.
yourself can use that side chain to interact and exchange with. So, you can, hide that balance so people don't know how much money,
So it
you
seems
have.
like these guys
So
Hmm.
on their site,
that's the neat part about that, where,
they have
you
something
have
on
that
here
opt-in ability
in the exchanges
and,
system that
can
looks
get
like
a
it's
level
saying,
of
right now it's
privacy
listed on
Hmm.
Hotbit
where you
trading
don't have
over
that on
Forex,
Bitcoin.
Bybit,
So it seems like these guys
Bit trading,
on their
and
site,
Bubble.
they're
So on the bottom
they have
here,
something on
they're
here
saying,
in the
go ahead.
exchanges section of their website, and they're saying, right now it's listed on
MWC.
Hotbit,
I don't see
Trade
what they're saying
Ogre,
here.
Bitforex,
MWC.
Whitebit, um, BitHum Global. So
Oh,
on the
oh,
bottom
Litecoin. Okay.
here,
What
they're
what exact
saying,
what are
go
you
ahead.
looking at here? What is this?
Oh, I see. That's a
MWC.
side
I don't know
chain.
if I did the
Okay.
right thing here.
Mm-mm.
MWC. Okay.
I'm actually
Mm.
talking about Litecoin proper.
Oh,
So
Litecoin. Okay.
so
Oh,
Litecoin added Mimblewimble
interesting. So,
Oh,
as a
I
how
side
do you
chain.
now?
see.
How do I find
As a
Yeah,
information about
side chain.
that?
Okay.
So,
right.
if
So
we, would I
it's
go
not
to
like
like look up
Grin or Beam.
Litecoin?
It's actually, Litecoin proper with a side chain. Yeah, it's pretty
Oh,
cool.
interesting. So that
And
how do I find
let me just
information
search it
about
up.
that? So
Litecoin
would I
Foundation.
go to like look up Litecoin
Now,
Yeah,
so
you can go
project,
to
the foundation
the
uses.
Litecoin
Let's
Foundation.
see.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, just type in into Google Litecoin.
and
oh,
did
yeah,
it
I
just
saw
bring
this.
that up? So it says Litecoin Foundation.
Yeah, let's see this.
Yeah,
And now, so
Oh, yeah,
projects, the
look at that.
foundation news, maybe? Let's see.
sure. Yep.
Oh, let's take a look here.
Oh yeah, they got a
Okay.
summit coming up too,
Oh, yeah, I
out
saw
in
that.
Vegas at the link. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see this one. Oh
So
yeah,
yeah,
look at that.
right. MWeb has been
Yeah,
officially
this is
activated.
actually pretty interesting. The Litecoin Summit.
Yeah, they don't have much
Interesting.
information out there
So they
yet
got
as
yeah
far
yeah
as
well
like
I
who the
keep adding
speakers are
these
going to
little
be
like
or anything like that yet.
sponsors
But
and speakers and
yeah, it's going to be over at the link.
Oh,
That's,
nice.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, this should be pretty interesting. The Litecoin Summit.
Hmm.
Have to look
right.
see what they got. Yeah, yeah. Well, they'll keep adding, I suppose, like sponsors and speakers and
Yeah, there's
other
nothing really up
information.
there yet. I think it's just kind of coming together. There's so much that's happening this year with all these events all over the place.
Right.
Like
Well,
Consensus is
and
going
think
on
about
right
all this
now
like
down in
information.
Austin. And then after that,
Oh,
there's NFT NYC that I'm aware of. Um, yeah, there's a couple other like smaller ones that are going
And
on.
you're talking about like
what?
Like,
conventions?
yeah, oh yeah, this
Oh,
is, Consensus is huge. They've got like 500 speakers, and yeah, it looks pretty
Oh,
awesome.
this is it. This is
I
it.
wish I had the time and availability to go do this all. Well, if you scroll all the way up on this page, though, Jay,
Ah, that's what it
what?
is.
if
Got
you
it.
the page you're currently on, go all the way to the
Yeah.
top,
Okay.
and it's the very first
Oh
thing
yeah,
here.
here it is.
MWeb has officially been
Mimble
activated,
Oh,
extension
this is
and
block.
it.
that's
This is
yeah,
it.
yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
and
Mimblewimble
that's what I was
extended
on before on
block,
that. Yeah, okay,
Ah,
cool.
that
So
stands for. Got it.
this
right?
explains
And this,
how this
yeah,
stuff
this is the
integrates
info
with
on it.
Litecoin.
Oh yeah, here it is. Wimble extension
Cool.
blocks. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's what I was on before on that. Yeah, okay, cool. So this explains how this is integrated with Litecoin.
Yeah, yeah, kind of fun.
Cool.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, neat
Yeah,
stuff. So the
Harry
extended
Potter.
block setup, they get some interesting stuff too with that, where it's like, if I remember correctly, it's like X-Hog. So, and it's named after the Hogwarts Express.
Oh, sure. Nice. Some
It's kind
Harry
of fun.
Potter.
It's all, yeah. So much of this, I've been digging into the Wimble stuff, again in preparation, and so much of this stuff has contributors to these different projects. Like there was there is a coin called Mimblewimble, and
Very
there's another
cool.
one called Beam,
Yeah,
and so
here it
many
is.
of these
You guys
contributors
talking
are
about that?
using
Yeah.
these screen names or handling names that are from characters from the book. It's pretty
Very
fun.
cool.
Yeah. But yeah, the
Yeah,
whole
here
idea,
it's talking about that. Yeah.
yeah, the fun part is when you think about how this is functioning, that
Right.
Hogwarts Express action is pretty
Yeah.
cool because you think about how the idea of like accessing, this like hidden area and then
Mm,
transporting, outside of the view of everyone, and it's kind of a
right.
neat analog. Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, fun stuff. But coming back
Yeah.
around to the charts here,
Yeah.
when we look at the price action and we look at, yeah, we could break down a little more that somewhere 20, 25, $30 range, I think, right? It's maybe where
Yeah,
things
Yeah,
could
the
end up.
sellers are slowing down.
right.
Boy, with
So
as strong as that's
you just
looking from a
brought up
fundamental
Bitcoin
perspective, it
along
almost
some of
seems
those
like
moves. So that's
that's a
big
good
time for
idea.
exhausting the
Um,
Yeah,
downward pressure.
as we're getting into the the bear market to look at doing
But
some accumulation on.
yeah, and the sellers are slowing down, it looks like. You can see the taper off in volume along, with the move. So that's a good signal that we're exhausting on the downward pressure.
so there's Bitcoin laid over.
See
Yeah,
what,
I mean, well, we could end up with a bump up, right? I mean, just like everything, we could end up with a bump up here shortly.
right.
Interesting.
Let's see, Coinbase.
Yep. Yeah, I wonder
So
if we're
there's
starting to get to the
Bitcoin
bottom
laid
end where
over.
these sellers are kind of going to start exhausting
Hmm,
on Bitcoin and the altcoins. What
interesting.
I'm interested in is
Yep.
seeing at what point do we start seeing
Yeah, I
divergence,
wonder if we're
like a
starting to get to the
decoupling.
bottom end of where
You'll see that
the
happen when
these sellers
um,
are kind of going to start
these
exhausting on
common like a
Bitcoin and the
sector
altcoins.
of
What
stocks
I'm
or
interested in
some sort of
is
instrument
seeing
related to
at what
others,
point do we
they
start
all
seeing
kind of
divergence, like a
if they're a part of a
decoupling.
sector, a category or group,
You'll see
they all
that
go in a
happen
direction where they start
when
moving to an
um,
extreme. Then they
kind of
start
common,
behaving
like a
erratically from
sector
each
of
other, where
stocks
a lot of times they'll kind of move in tandem.
some sort of
But I wonder
instrument
if we're
that's
going to get
related to
to
others. They all kind of,
a low
if they're a
with
part of a sector, a
Bitcoin and all
category,
the
or group,
altcoins to the
they
point
can
where
all
they
go into a direction, but they
they start
start getting into
diverging
an
a little bit,
extreme.
which
Then they
might be
start
the indication that
behaving,
we could start seeing a
erratically
turnaround
from each
here.
other, where, a lot of times they'll kind
So
of
I'm
move
kind
in
of watching
tandem.
for that.
But I wonder if we're going to hit a point, a low with Bitcoin and all the
Yeah,
altcoins to the point
you're
where
right.
they start diverging a little bit,
It's kind of like
which might be the
Bitcoin as
indication that
well.
we could
Kind of
start
aren't
seeing a
those for a
turnaround,
while there? Those were the three that everybody
So
Yeah, I
I'm
focused
kind of
wouldn't.
on.
watching for that.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect much from as far as divergence with these two. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
yeah, right.
pretty tied to each other.
Yeah, it's kind of like Ethereum as well. Kind of aren't those for a while there? Those were the three that everybody kind of looked at.
Right. Well, and I think the potential I think in the future is that with Ethereum
Sure.
being more like a protocol base, that would go through and
Mm-hmm.
move away. We would actually see that decoupling happen in the
Hmm.
future
Sure.
because it's a different use model.
Hmm.
Whereas Bitcoin and Litecoin are very similar in use. Litecoin
Hmm.
is faster, and now with the Mimblewimble privacy, it makes it, in my opinion,
Here's Bitcoin.
a little more
Got the
desirable
chart over there.
for
Let's see
certain
how
use
it lines
cases.
up.
So I could see why people would want to use one versus the
Yep.
other.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really I'm looking forward to you just busting out of the
Okay.
consolidation
Here's
thing.
Litecoin.
I just can't
I'm
wait.
just kind of
I'm
pushing the
because I'm
chart over a little to
curious.
see how it lines up.
Just it's
Hmm.
exciting.
Hmm.
Um, you know,
Yep.
just give us something.
Yeah, I
Now
really I'm looking forward
obviously,
to
but yeah, this is
the you
and
just
it's probably no
busting out of the
different than any other
consolidation. Man, I just
consolidation.
cannot
Let's
wait. I'm
looking
because
at
I'm
let's look at
curious, if
one more
anything.
time. Let me go to
Just
Bitcoin.
it's
Let me
exciting.
get rid of the
Uh,
overlay. Just any of the consolidations that we
just
went through.
give us something. Break down, go up,
At
but
least
yeah,
let me
this
just
is,
type.
and it's probably no different than
We
any
had
other
this sort
consolidation.
of sideways from
Let's
April.
look at one more
Where did
time.
it
Let me go to
go? But it was
Bitcoin.
a
Let me
downward
get
drift.
rid of the overlay.
So
Let's see if there's any other consolidations that we went through.
can't see any
Um,
that really
at least
stand
that were
out
this
that we
tight.
had to ride a sideways
We had this
movement like this.
sort of sideways
And
from
I can't see any that
April,
really matches up quite like this.
mid-April, but it was a downward drift,
Maybe
so
here. Oh, here.
I just
This was a wild ride back
can't
in.
see any that
Let's see.
really
This
stand
was
out that we had to
May.
ride a
Looks
sideways
like
movement like this.
May 19th,
I can't
roughly
see
somewhere in
anything
that
that
area.
really
So
matches up
mid-May,
quite like this.
we had a sideways sort of
Maybe
channel.
here, oh, here,
And it
this was a
ran all
wild
the way into
ride
June.
back
So
in,
actually, you know what?
let's
Maybe
see,
this.
this was
See, this is what I'm
May,
talking about. I mean,
looks
look
like
at it. It
May
dances off support,
19th, roughly
dances off,
somewhere in that area. So
dances, and then
mid-May,
all of a sudden
we
this
had a
rally comes in.
sideways
Now this
sort
is
of channel.
Hmm.
Um,
things have changed with
and it
inflation
ran
and
all the
wars
way
and
into June.
stuff,
So
and
actually, you
so
know what? Maybe this,
that's something that I
see
just
this, this is
instinctively
what I'm
said I
talking
want
about.
to
I mean,
move
look at
over.
it. It dances off
What was
support,
this
dances off
SPY?
support,
This one,
dances, and then all of a sudden this rally comes in.
SPY.
Now this is
Let's go all.
things have changed with the relationship, of course, with the stock market. So
Yeah, that
that's
doesn't
something that I always
help too much.
instinctively want to do. I want to lay over the,
That
what was it,
doesn't
SPY? Is that the one that we were
was it
looking
the
at?
SPX or the SPY?
SPY.
I think it was the SPX.
Let's go
Let's try the
all.
SPX. SPX.
Let's
There we
see.
go. Ah, that's it
Yep,
right there.
that doesn't help any.
Hmm.
Mm-mm. Nope, that doesn't help any at all. That's not it.
Back in
Was
time.
it the SPX or the SPY that I think it was the
Nope, there
SPX.
was
Let's
no
try the
significant rally.
SPX.
But that was no. It's not
SPX. Here
telling
we
me
go.
anything.
Ah, that's it right there.
It looks like
Mm.
the S&P didn't really line up back then. It seems that this is
Let me
more
just
of a
go back
recent
in
thing.
time.
I was really hoping to see, you know,
Nope, there was no
some
significant
relationship
rally. But
in the
that was,
consolidation,
nope, it's not telling me anything.
historically back, from a year ago, but
It looks like
there's no
the
really
S&P
sign.
didn't really line up back then. It
But
seems that this is
yeah.
more
So
of a
anyways, it
recent
looks like
thing.
we could be
I
sitting
was
for
really
a
hoping to
while
see, you
on
know,
this consolidation, and
some
we went
relationship
all the way from
in the
mid-January to
consolidation,
looks like mid-June.
historically back,
Right
from a
now,
year
same
ago, but
thing. We
it's
kind
not,
of
there's
sat.
nothing really
We could
tied.
say the consolidation went
But yeah, anyways, it looks
mid-May.
like we
Here
could be
we are
sitting for
coming
a
up on
while
mid-June.
on
So
this consolidation, and we went all the way from
we
mid-May
could be
until
riding
it
this for a
looks like
while. We
mid-June.
could be riding
Let's
this all the
right
way
now,
from
same
sideways
thing. We
all the
kind
way
of
into. I mean, how
sat,
long does
we
it
could
take?
say the consolidation
Go into
went
July before something
mid-May.
breaks
Here we
one
are
way or the
coming up
other.
into mid-June. So we could be
So
riding this for a while. We could be riding
that.
this all the way. I'm sideways all the way into, I mean, as long as it takes, but it could go into July before something breaks
Yep.
one way or
So
the other,
you
you know.
just gotta sit tight.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, I can't wait. Well, now the planning part.
So
Yeah.
When we do see,
that's
I mean,
that.
even down here we talked about it. If we start
Yeah.
dipping down low
Yeah.
enough,
Put
then we
a
start getting into
put a
wholesale,
pin in it
real
and come
wholesale
back.
entries.
Yep, that's all you can do.
I'm seriously
Just got to
looking at
sit tight. I'll tell you,
Ethereum.
I can't wait. Well, now
If
the planning
Ethereum,
part, when we do
pulls
see,
down into
I mean, even down here, we
considerable,
talked about it. If we start
like
dipping
you
down
said,
low enough,
Bitcoin
then we start getting
15,000. That
into
means Ethereum is close
wholesale,
to
real
anywhere
wholesale
from
entries.
900,
I'm seriously looking at
and
Ethereum.
that might be an
If
attractive
Ethereum can,
entry.
pulls down into some wholesale areas,
Litecoin as well, I can
like we
imagine.
said, Bitcoin 15,000, that means Ethereum's
Maybe I
close
think you
to
could throw a
anywhere
dart at a lot of the
900,
real good
you know,
Mm.
altcoins.
and that
And
that might be an
when we start
attractive
seeing that
entry.
upward, movement.
Litecoin as
What do
well,
you
I
think
can
about
imagine.
Cardano?
Actually, I
How
think
do
you
they
could throw a
pronounce that?
dart at
I
a
always
lot of the
say it
real
wrong.
good altcoins. And when we start
Cardano.
seeing that upward,
What?
movement. What do you think about Cardano?
Yeah,
How do they pronounce that? I always say it wrong.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
88 Cardano.
And like you said,
Cardano,
I mean,
Cardano.
I don't really know their
Yeah,
tokenomics or their
What?
fundamentals, but let me just type
I
in
haven't really
BTC.
kept up with that project. That one I'm a
BTC.
Yeah,
little behind on. Yeah,
sure.
admittedly.
Yeah. And I don't really
Doing the
know
same
their
thing all
their
the others are. Kind
tokenomics or
of
their
just
fundamentals, but let me just
so
type in BTC.
XLM.
Just curious,
They've they've
BTC.
they've come down quite a bit.
Again, kind of just doing the same thing as all the others.
See that?
I would really like to see
Okay.
XLM
Yep, it's doing the same thing all the others are. I just wanted to make
get
sure.
back up into its
So
at least the 40 cents.
XLM,
And that would be well. Actually, it's
there
well.
again, kind of
It's a
just
great point to
doing
be
the same thing as
accumulating
all
right
the
now.
others.
How much
I would
further down
really
could
like to
XLM
see
go to the point where
XLM
you're like, I mean, it's cheap no matter from
get
here
back up
down.
into
It's
its
just cheap,
at least the 40 cents.
right?
That would be, well, actually, it's well, and it's a great point to be accumulating right now. How much further down could XLM go to the point where you're like, I mean, it's cheap no matter from here down. It's just cheap,
Yeah.
right?
Well, again, yes, for what it is, yeah, it is long term. Um, it has a lot of upside potential,
Yeah,
and we've definitely talked about it a few times where with everything that's coming and as much work as they're doing on that, we've got, in my opinion, a short period of time, maybe it's a year, maybe it's 18 months left, before this thing just really starts making some serious waves because that fundamentally when we look at the jump cannon and the Turing complete smart contracts on a ISO 20022 chain that has instituted clawback with native market making and native um, exchange with the Aztecs. I mean, this thing has so much about what's
Mm-hmm.
happening in the ecosystem bolted into it. I mean, like vertically built into it and consolidated into its core function. It's really it's a standout to me.
Hmm.
I just think that with the MoneyGram launch coming, USDC is going to be used more. That's going to get some more eyes on XLM as a chain. It's going to be much easier now for people to get into the SDEX because they can go to, any MoneyGram location, drop
Hmm.
in a couple $100, bring it into their Lobster wallet, and have access to the the different projects that are on the SDEX.
Hmm.
So now think about, integration as CBDCs come onto the platform. Um, and of course, their light mint and the different retail level projects that can easily mint inexpensive NFTs. I mean, there's just so much of this when you look at institution, large business, global scale. Um, again, it's a real standout to me because there's so much fundamentally happening there that it's going to draw a lot of attention. And the
Hmm.
biggest thing I come back around to is the fact that they will have smart contracts on a chain that has instituted clawbacks. Now, clawbacks
Hmm.
are, can be considered controversial in the cryptocurrency decentralized self-sovereignty realm because it allows the ability for those funds to be pulled back. But the reality is that people want to have those securities. The institutions, the banks, they want to be able to use that feature. It's there. It's there in the traditional system, and for them, it helps with money laundering,
Hmm.
um, money being sent to the wrong location. They're able to go through and individually, reverse these transactions. Whereas with you take something like Bitcoin, um, reversing a transaction, the only way you can do that is
Yeah,
by
right.
turning back time and
Hmm.
picking up the chain from a different place. So, that's not something that's typically done, especially, for somebody that would lose $50 or $100. It's just not practical, right?
Yeah,
So,
right.
yeah, having that ability and everything all dial. I mean, I'm telling you, dude, I am super bullish long term on Stellar, and
Hmm.
I cannot wait to see their solution for smart contracts because I can see insurance
Mm-hmm.
companies, I can see all sorts of different contract rate run businesses coming to that platform because of how cheap it is to use. Because Ethereum is not
Right. Yeah.
cost effective in order
Hmm.
to run
Yeah.
a standard contract on. Even if you're talking about, if you got it for low fees, you're still talking a couple of dollars yet to transact this, and this is less than a penny to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, yeah,
yes, so bullish on it. I mean, we've
yeah.
talked about it so many times,
Mm-hmm.
but when you take that macro level fundamental look at it, there's a few of these projects that are really stand out, and that's to me one of them.
Hmm.
I'm gonna say the Mimblewimble implementation on Litecoin is another big standout for me. Um,
Hmm.
I think that that's going to have a
Sure.
much
Yeah. Yeah.
larger interest
The anonymous.
as we move into the
Yeah.
next phase of
That
cryptocurrencies and
it doesn't
mainstream,
seem
and
that Kocher did of
people want to be able
human
to have
technology, where
the
everything is like
ability to
public
send funds
and
without
available. I mean, I can see
having
why
everybody
people would
watch
want
them,
it, but
you know.
yeah,
So
Sure.
that,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
important.
understand how.
The anonymous part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That and doesn't that counter the ideas of blockchain technology where everything is like public and available? I mean, I can see why people would want it, but yeah, I just can't
Well,
understand how.
macro level, it's still there. Okay,
Yeah.
it's just disguised.
Okay.
So your what is it? UXTOs, your
Mm-hmm.
unspent transaction output. All those numbers are still there. It's still all synced
Mm-hmm.
up. It's just the individual transfers themselves. You just can't go onto a block explorer and see that. So you're
Hmm.
not there. There still is a level of visibility to the main accounts.
Hmm.
But when you opt into if I'm understanding how it works, you opt into the Mimblewimble, you and I can send funds and nobody needs to see that. But, our balances that would be monitored
Mm-hmm.
on a off ramp would still be our accounts. Then, you would still be accountable to, what happens on on that off ramp. So, it doesn't go away.
Hmm.
It's a different path for sending that to be able
So
to get around
still looking at Matic.
directly tying that UXTO to a
Yeah.
specific um, transaction.
Okay.
Eh,
Still looking at Matic.
Yeah,
How are
I
they
tell you,
doing?
that's a little
How
sad,
are they
right?
doing
I mean,
lately?
Matic had
Yeah.
Any word? Any
really
news? I'm just
just
popping on the news.
come
How
down
about
quite a bit. I
Dogecoin?
mean,
Okay, well,
we
Polygon
really lost a
Edge
lot of
is
gusto on Matic.
gonna
We were
release.
sitting so
Polygon
good for so
teases another
long.
product release
Yep.
in its quest to build
Um, I
Web3.
mean, we
How
were
are they
over.
doing? How are they doing lately? Any word? I'm just popping on the news.
Polygon. So it looks
Dogecoin
like
now
there's
available.
quite
Polygon
a fair
Edge
amount
giving Dogecoin users access to
of
DeFi
news
Web3.
that
Polygon
has come
teases
out.
another product
They're
release
working on
in
stuff,
its
right?
quest to build Web3. That's interesting. Tether to offer stablecoin USDT on Polygon. So it looks like there's they got a fair amount of news that has come out. They're working on stuff, right?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to tell you, I've
Right.
lost a little bit of intimacy with that project.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly it's something I want to do some more research on. I do have a fair amount that I own.
Sure.
Right.
And kind of understanding
Mm-hmm.
what the future is looking like for them. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I need to do a little bit more of a deep dive and
Sure.
understand the market position, their value add
Yeah.
position that comes
Mm-hmm.
with Ethereum moving to proof of stake.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't educatedly
Right.
talk to that at the moment and tell you what happens in that
Mm-hmm.
scenario. I know that there's quite a
Yeah.
bit that's happened on Matic.
Mm-hmm.
People have built on Matic. There's, apps and things happening on Matic. Um, and I don't think Matic goes away. I guess the
Right.
question is the value proposition still there in a proof
Mm-hmm.
of stake environment with lower fees on Ethereum?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how much more
Mm.
will the projects migrate back to Ethereum? Is there going to still be the value add to move to, Matic? Or I think, another project that's really bubbled up that I need to
Optimism.
do significantly more research on is Optimism. I think they just
Mm.
launched a coin, um, and I've seen quite a bit happening with Optimism.
It's
Ethereum
called
scaled.
optimism.
Optimism is a
Hmm.
low-cost, lightning-fast Ethereum L2 blockchain.
Yeah, I think their token just came
OP
out
is the
not that long ago,
symbol,
like
I think.
in the
Yeah.
last week, 10 days or so.
Ethereum scaled. Optimism is a low-cost, lightning-fast Ethereum L2 blockchain.
Hmm.
OP is the symbol, I think, maybe.
Yep, yep. Now,
Yeah.
people have been
Sure.
building on
Yeah.
Optimism for a while. As a matter of fact, Synthetics, they moved to build on Optimism, and they had done it and again, I'm not going to get 100% of these
Yeah,
details right,
sure. Yeah.
from what I recall, they were able because synthetics uses synthetic representations of different assets to trade, and they're called synths. And the optimism layer, from what I recall, allowed a much smoother implementation in the futures market. So they
Okay.
were able to do a lot more cleaner and more fluid with optimism than any other chain.
Hmm.
So the only thing I remember hearing in one of the conversations was that if they had to do it again because of the length of time it took in order to convert over, they probably would have picked Matic because Matic would
Mm,
have been a quicker um, uptime because they had
hmm.
originally built on Ethereum, moved away to optimism. So when you
Hmm.
look at the price chart, and that would be maybe another fun one to kind of go through and take a closer look
Hmm.
at some point, maybe understand these price movements
SNX.
as they line up with the
Yeah.
fundamentals.
But the
Um,
Coinbase or Binance.
you're not going to see much for optimism in itself because the optimism token,
Yeah.
Mm.
it's synthetics. SNX is what you want to look up.
SNX.
Here it
Yeah,
says
SNX.
U.S. dollar
Yeah.
There
calculator
we
by
go.
trading view SNX
But the
on Binance.
Coinbase or
Or
Binance,
would
you
I
think?
want? Oh, okay.
You want to do Binance or
Yeah.
somebody who would
Yeah.
have
That's
had it
probably
longer
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
because I
Oh,
think
look at that.
synthetics has been a little short-lived up on
Here
Coinbase.
it says
Right.
US dollar calculated by TradingView SNX on Binance.
Sure,
Or would I want? Oh, okay.
it's probably good enough for
Yeah.
this
Oh,
Yeah,
I
discussion.
that's
think
good enough.
you
Yeah.
know, hey,
Yeah.
you
Interesting.
talked to me
Oh,
about
look
this
at that.
before. I think I
Yeah, so we came back
yeah, I think I
down
tweeted you about it.
and around
Right
that
where we
I
started.
thought I had it
Jeez.
saved.
right,
Okay.
so
Yeah,
we're
I
down
gotta
damn low.
bookmark this one. I was trying to remember which one you were
Oh, I
This
talking
is
think
about.
hey, you talked to me about this before. I think
mhm.
yeah, I think I put this on my, oh no, I didn't. I thought I had it saved. Okay. Yeah, I gotta bookmark this one. I was trying to remember which one you were telling me about. This is it.
Yeah, this one, there's so many interesting things going on with it. And again, with everything else that's been going on, um, I lost I lost touch with some of my
Holding. Yeah, right.
I don't want to call them like secondary holdings. I guess I'd call them like maybe it's my smaller holdings
Right.
Hmm.
on my portfolio where I don't intend on selling it anytime soon. So I'm okay with, catching back
Holding.
up with it.
Yeah, right,
I am considering accumulating more here because
right.
our price point has been so darn low and there's so much value potential. But yeah, I wanted to kind of go back through and do another deep dive as far as, what's happening with the project, where things are headed, what's good, what's bad. I know that sometime in the last 2 months they had run into an issue with the way that the funding was working and they had to do some restructuring. I don't remember the intimate details on that, but they ended up in a position where things were over leveraged
Hmm.
for their liking. Okay, they could run with it like that, but the way that things had worked out on the platform, they felt like the leverage ratio was
Yep.
too high, and they needed to bring the
263.
leverage
Look at
ratio
that.
down.
Yeah,
Hmm.
263. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I need to kind of dig back in there. So when we look at this chart, though,
Yeah.
boy, oh boy, you're
Yeah, I'm
at
trying
what,
to figure out now
the
that you
260
mentioned that
range?
if that's what we're experiencing
Yep,
with a
about
lot of these.
263.
Well,
Well, yeah,
a
263, yeah.
few of these. I shouldn't use
Okay,
263. I should
interesting
use
on the
Matic.
volume, right?
Yep, there's
So
a
we've
taper
seen
in
a
Matic.
tapering down of
Looks like a lot of
volume.
the altcoins.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I'm trying to
XLM looks
figure out now that
good.
you mentioned that if that's what we're
Let's see.
experiencing with a lot of these.
That's interesting.
Just gonna
Looks
I'll
like
take a peek at a few of these. I shouldn't.
organic looks like
Ethereum's
it's
not a
being
good. Here, let's
actively
look at Matic.
traded.
Yep, there's a taper in
Yep.
Matic. Looks like a lot of the
Looks like a lot of
altcoins.
volume in Matic.
XLM little taper. Yep. Let's see. Well, that's interesting. Looks like Cardano looks like it's being actively traded because that's
Mm-hmm.
considerable amount of volume in that.
Yeah,
But
there's something with that. That's another one. I'm not intimately familiar with that project to be able to speak educatedly on it, but I do believe that there's a use model that's happening with the coin I also, if I remember correctly, too, they are part of that ISO 20022. So they would potentially have a higher volume because they would be, seen as um, more as a tradable currency,
Hmm.
standardized tradable currency, much like XRP, XLM, because they reach that messaging standard for the banks.
Hmm.
And I think, let's see, I mean, their price action has
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the news that they have.
been really crushing, hasn't it? Because we're back
Yeah.
well under a
Okay, well
dollar
that's
on
New
that.
York.
What are we at?
Yeah.
Like
What is this?
60 some cents? Yeah, I remember when that was,
63. Yeah.
I remember when it was 4 cents.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the
So,
news
New
that
York
they
Department of
have.
Financial Services issued new regulatory guidance for
And
companies that create stablecoins.
look
Here,
at
we were
this
just
New
talking about
York.
this.
What is
So,
this?
yep, there's abbreviation
NYDFS
requirements for
issues
companies that
guidance
issue
on
dollar-backed
stablecoins. It
stablecoins.
was 4 hours ago. Weren't we
Interesting.
just having this
Stablecoin
conversation?
must be fully
Here we go.
backed by a
New York's
reserve of
Department of
assets
Financial
equal to the
Services
value of the
issued new
outstanding
regulatory guidance
stablecoin
for
supply at the
companies
end
that
of each
create
day.
stablecoins. Here, we were just talking about
Okay,
this.
so
Yep.
second,
So,
stablecoin
yep, guidance
reserve
sets
must
out
be
3
held in
baseline
custody by a
requirements for
federally
companies that issue
chartered
dollar-backed stablecoins.
depository
Interesting.
institution.
Stablecoin must be fully
So
backed by a
yeah, it looks
reserve of
like we talked
assets
about
equal to the value of the
what
outstanding
is going to be
stablecoin supply
regulated
at
and
the end of each
because
day.
it was so vague, but here we're starting to get
Okay,
some
so second, stablecoins
definitions,
reserve must be held in
right?
custody by federally chartered depository institution. So yeah, looks like we talked about what
Considered
is
U.S.
going to be
Treasury bills
regulation. It
collateralized
was so vague, but
reverse
here we're
repurchase
starting to get
deposit
some
accounts and certain
definitions,
other
right?
assets. Okay, that's kind of
Yeah.
vague, but okay, that's
Stablecoin
good enough
reserve
for
It,
must
now,
be held in
right?
custody by a federally chartered depository institution.
it can
You know,
consist of
just because
U.S.
I don't know
Treasury
what this
bills,
means, I'm just gonna
collateralized
use
reverse repurchase agreements, deposit
that.
accounts, and certain other assets. Okay, that's kind of vague, but okay, that's
Yeah.
good enough for
What
now,
is that?
right?
What are collateralized reverse purchase agreements?
Just because I don't know it
Like
doesn't mean it's not something
doesn't
that exists.
Okay, so
well,
that sticks out to you too. Like, what? Okay, what
Yeah,
is
what
that? What's a
is that?
collateralized reverse
so then finally, the reserves must
repurchase
be examined by a
agreement?
It
certified
sound
public
like
accountant
double
each
speak.
month.
It does.
So they got to
It
report
does
on
kind
this.
of sound that way.
Oh, here it
Well,
says
that's a
Well,
yeah, and the issuer must provide annual reports.
gonna have to
something like
learn
that.
about that one.
So
Yeah, we'll have to
okay,
pull that.
well, now that's just on
So then finally, the
New
reserve
York
must be
Department
examined
of
by
Financial
a
Services.
certified public accountant each month.
Because I know
So they got
Wisconsin
to
has
report on this, looks
one,
like.
the
Oh, here
Wisconsin
it's they say,
Department
yeah,
of
and the issuer must provide
Depository.
annual
Oh,
reports.
yeah. So
So,
yeah,
okay,
I
well,
guess we're gonna
now
start
that's
seeing
just
more
on
news come out
the New York
from a
Department of
federal
Financial
level and from a state
Services.
level, right?
Is each state? Because I know Wisconsin has one, the Wisconsin Department of Financial Services. Uh, yeah. So anyway, yeah, I guess we're going to start seeing more news come out from a federal level and from state level, right?
So this would mean that any of the
No,
exchanges that would be offering stable
no,
coins
it couldn't work,
in New
right? Because
York,
it wouldn't meet these
um,
requirements, would it?
they would need to meet these requirements, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So you wouldn't see an algorithmic stablecoin.
No,
Hmm.
no, because it couldn't
It,
work,
it wouldn't.
right? Because it wouldn't meet these requirements, would it?
So okay, well that's interesting. Gonna have to
Yeah, it's
keep an eye
interesting. The
on
trend
that
seems to be
now.
motivated in part by the collapse of Terra
Because
USD,
yeah,
the
it looks like
failed
we're gonna start getting
stablecoin
some
now valued at
definitions,
just
and
a penny.
this
Hey,
I think
there's
Right.
this is
Dan.
good, right?
Hey.
Hmm. So, okay, well, that's interesting. Gonna have to keep an eye on that now, um, because yeah, it looks like we're gonna start getting some definitions that this,
Right.
and I guess that's good, right?
Well, again, this comes
Well,
back
and wasn't
around
there some
to
kind of venture
so many
capital
people
fund
just
that
got
actually tried to
pounded
invest
with that
in
Terra
Luna that
USD.
now I guess is dissolved?
Right.
I mean, it's an incredibly unfortunate situation.
Well, and wasn't there some kind of
Yep, I believe
venture
I read
capital
that article,
fund
and
that
they were
actually was
heavy in
heavily
Luna, and
invested
now
in Luna
they're
that
just
now I
I
guess
don't remember
is
the name of the hedge
dissolved?
fund or what it was,
You know what? That's a good question. I
but
can't
I
answer that.
thought it was
It certainly seems to me like it's probable.
Yep, I believe I
Um,
read that article, and they were
so
heavy. They were heavy in Luna, and now
oh hey
they're
hey Dan,
just going away. I don't remember the name of the hedge fund or what fund it was. but I thought it was hedge fund,
How's it going, guys?
and I
How you doing,
oh
Dan?
hey Dan.
Hey, sorry the kids took a little longer to get down to bed tonight. Oh,
It's all good.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, what do you guys think about these crypto bills?
Yeah, some of these bills
Oh
are
yeah,
looking
they just
interesting.
the
I
New
mean,
York
certainly,
Fed
I don't think
just issued
all of
their
it's going to make it
guidelines,
through. We were
their
just, however,
requirements
talking
for
about
stablecoins.
the stuff in New York and the stable coins. That's
Oh yeah. They just the New York Fed
Yep.
just
So that yep.
issued their guidelines
Go ahead.
and requirements for stablecoins.
Oh, that's good. Does it say they have to be 100% backed?
yep,
Yep.
yep.
It says
They've got.
yep. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, it was just The reserve
Yeah.
can only
Yeah.
consist of
Whatever
U.S.
it is.
Treasury bills,
Yeah.
collateralized reverse repurchase agreements, deposit accounts, and certain other assets. And Jay and I were just discussing. We're not really sure what collateralized reverse repurchase agreements are.
Yeah.
It's a
Whatever that
mouthful.
is. Yeah.
So, do you think that's going to bring down, or maybe not bring down, but like tether?
No, no, I don't think that's going to be enough to bring down Tether. Because Tether's actually been playing a little bit more by the rules here, as far as I understand. They've been much more upfront. I haven't kept up on all the details as of recently, but everything that I've been hearing from people in the know um, is that they don't see anything significantly happening to Tether from this point forward.
Yeah, I guess that's the next thing. If the SEC does bring some lawsuit against Tether,
Yeah, I
that
wouldn't.
would probably destroy the market.
I don't see why they would though. I mean,
Yeah,
they've again, people in the know that I'm hearing from is that they're saying that things are not nearly as nebulous as what they were in the past, and that they've really been much more upfront on things. So it sounds like they're kind of getting their act together.
um, what do you think some of those crypto bills mean for Bitcoin?
It's not okay. So the most interesting one, of course, is the power consumption one, right? Where they're talking about the impact of mining, and that in and of itself, this idea of the Bitcoin mining being bad for the environment. That's I said that right from the get-go. I think, day one when we went through that executive order over on Skinny Monkey site, I was saying that was the number one thing that I picked out as being a big question because we've got an administration right now that's hot on environmental issues and climate change, and this power consumption stuff is really going to stick out. And I don't know. Proof of work. This is really it's an interesting concept. Um, I I actually have it down as one of the things to talk about in my other group there, um, to really get somebody who is into this talking about proof of work, proof of stake. Can we think about like legitimately think about Bitcoin moving to proof of stake? Is that an idea that could even fly? Um, I don't know. I mean, like technically it could happen. I mean, obviously we've got proof of stake happening on Ethereum. We've got other blockchains that are doing it. Is the regulation, though, if regulation comes in the United States against mining, is it going to be enough to impact globally? That's really the bigger question. Because even if they shut down mining for environmental concerns in the United States,
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't
I
think
think
so.
it'll probably go state by state. Some states just might not allow it.
I would think more than likely what's going to happen is that they're going to have some sort of push towards green energy. And you're going to see, like Elon Musk and his solar farm have Bitcoin or Litecoin or whatever mining going on. That's what I think.
Yeah, I guess when does, like we were saying last week or 2 weeks ago, the cost of mining like stop being worth Bitcoin.
Right.
That's going to come to a point.
Well, of course the mining will go away, but the securing of the network won't. I mean, you're always going to need somebody securing the network. So there's going to need to be enough fees being collected in order for that to be worthwhile, right? So there has to be enough transactions that are happening to keep miners interested.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to totally change up the reward structure, I guess.
Yeah, that's another fun one to look at and think about.
What do you guys see, what are you guys seeing on the charts? I don't have I left my iPad at work. I don't have what are you guys seeing on the charts?
Short of it is sideways. Everything is just pretty much consolidating. We could go either way. I think Jay fell off on us here. He logged back on, but he hasn't been able to get on as a speaker.
There
we go. I think I just
are we going to dip down to is the 200-day moving average?
I could hear you guys. My phone died. But
what is that at now? Like 23 or?
Let's see.
That's a very good question. Let's pop back over.
All of these bills, right?
Yep. So I could hear you guys. My phone died, but it's back up. So yeah, let's see. Well, I found another article. I don't know if you guys were talking about all of these bills, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yep. So I've been looking, and I pulled up this news article here. So they're talking about the Securities and Exchange Commission Chair Gary Gensler spoke at some fintech conference Wednesday, and you got the crypto regulation bill. Looks like they're talking about Wyoming, New York unveiled new legislation. So they have a couple of nuggets in here that talk about, let's see here, they're talking about the actual tokens that exist, and this he's saying that most of the tokens are actually operating illegally. So that's interesting that statement was made that way, because I guess what they're doing is trying to get, they're trying to introduce regulation. It sounds like what they're preparing for. They're saying that they're working with the exchanges. They're talking about the exchanges right now are currently working with the SEC to try to come into some kind of alignment and bring them into what they consider safe for the public. So it's interesting. We're starting to see more verbiage come out and more definitions on what they're talking about.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, if it's not overreach.
Mm-hmm.
Well, isn't what is it, the CT or CCFC overseeing the crypto stuff in those bills, not the SEC?
But I'm hearing some woman talking like German in my earpiece.
I can't answer that. Do you know, Jay?
I have this really weird. I have this weird thing in my earpiece.
It went away, so that's good.
I don't know if you guys are hearing this, but I'm hearing some woman talking like German in my earpiece. Is that just me?
I think that's you.
Yeah, I'm not hearing anything.
Okay, this is totally new. Anyways, it went away, so that's good. But yeah.
Are you on Bluetooth or something? You think you maybe picked up somebody else?
I don't. I do not know what's going on. I just know there's a lady talking German.
Uh, okay.
Yeah, I might leave the. I'm gonna jump back in. Hold on, let me just get out.
Yep. So when we look at the 1 week, if I'm looking at this right, Dan, the 200 looks like we're at 27,000 on Bitcoin for the weekly, and if we switch to daily, we are at 39,000.
There we go. I
And
figured
that's
it out.
for the
200
day.
on the daily, yeah. So 27 all on the weekly. Let's go to a 3 day.
Maybe.
36 on the 3 day. And on a 5 day, 200 moving is at 32. So yeah, it's interesting to take a look at how vastly different those numbers are, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna dip as low as 14 or 12,000 anymore.
Not right away, I don't think. I don't think that's a next week thing.
No, I know, but I don't.
I quite honestly, I still am of the belief that we're actually gonna rally up yet, and we're gonna have an exit liquidity event that happens 3 to 6 weeks, and then we're gonna start to see the slide down, and things just poop out into the recession. That's what I think is gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I think Jay, when we were looking at the possibility on the upside, it's what 55, 60, maybe even like 65 range, somewhere in there.
I mean,
If
Uh,
we had a
oh yeah,
rally from here.
right, yeah, yeah. Just based on the weekly, yeah, definitely could go to those areas. We've been here before, and I mean, just even the measured moves and based on time, we certainly could make our move right back up to the 60s, 65s and test that top end. And if we were to like just do the measured move based on time, I mean, this is silly, but why not? Um, copying what's happened before puts us at October, end of October, back up to the 65s. So literally November 1st, maybe even sooner. Potentially. I mean, it's possible, right? Because it's happened before.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know if we're going that high. I think we'll get rejected off 40,000 again here.
Yeah, that certainly could happen because downward pressure on the stock market. But I read something else, another article, and they were talking about how basically everyone should just.
Oh, I might have.
What's that?
Oh gosh, I got that. Hold on.
Yeah, because they were talking about there's a lot of I don't know if it was investors, I think, or maybe trading, or I couldn't remember what it referred to, but they were sitting on the sidelines because of the uncertainty. And but they were talking about how, remember I said sell in May, go away, and they even mentioned, I just read this article, I could have swore it was today, and they were, or last night, and they were saying that we're probably going to have the investors come back in September. So that was interesting because that lines up a lot with, a potential rally. If we are going to have a rally, that might be the ideal time because then, think about it. The Fed said they're going to ease on their tightening policy in August, the end of August. And so that times out well with, typical rally cycles. in end of August, beginning of September. It looks on the chart that just the cycle in time, that's kind of the place that it's due to happen again. But yeah, once we get up there, who knows? But it just seems like we could drift downward, because we're kind of in a downward drift. So both the S&P and the altcoins, along with Bitcoin, drifting down. But yeah, if we have that rally at toward the end of the summer here, everyone gets crazy because it's happened before with the stock market. When the stock market starts having higher highs, higher lows, people start getting that fear of missing out, the FOMO, and the same
Yeah.
thing with crypto. Then we start seeing all that money pour in. Yeah, then we get to the top up there, and then it's like, well, the party's over. Now we got to cycle it back down. What happens after that? Who knows? But yeah, so to Mike's point, we don't know how high we could go, but we're due for a rally. It shows that the measured move and time-based move, it's setting up. How high we go, who knows? But then what happens once we get there after that? That's
Yeah.
the question. Because now we're going to be coming into the Christmas season. I think that Christmas is going to be very disappointing. I think that retailers are going to, report lower profits, lower revenues, just because of the price of gas, all of the macro fundamental data that's coming in. Everyone's losing market share, or they're losing revenue. So you pull that all together, and that spells a bad stock market and probably a bad crypto market, right?
Well, there's so many competing ideas. I can definitely understand the potential for a rally nearing the elections. That theory makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's for sure too.
Oh yeah,
That's an idea that could work out.
sure.
I've seen some pretty strong reasons, especially with the way that the macroeconomics are already.
Mhm.
So
That
someone
with it,
can compare the Google chart to Bitcoin, and on the Google chart, it does a double peak, kind
Oh,
of
at the
hits
top,
the
a double
hits
top.
the or double top, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
jumps way up after a pullback, just like we're having.
hmm hmm Yeah, we could have. It's all. We'll find out. This consolidation is really the waiting. It's just crazy that, it could go either way. It seems probabilities to the downside, but when we've thought that before, we've seen Bitcoin rally, of course, stock market as well. All the shorts come in and they end up in a bear trap. And then the market rallies for no reason. So this is going to be really interesting to see. I think now, putting those ideas to execute, I got my shopping list together. I'm looking at numerous stocks right now. Oh, I wanted to quick cover that. I'm going to have to wrap it up soon, but I wanted to quick point something out
Mhm.
on that last skinny monkey, what's Spaces talk.
Mhm.
They had it titled making, or I don't know what it was, making money in a down market or something like
Right.
that.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, and that's why I jumped in there. I was excited because I did a bunch of research on some of those, um, what do you call it, ETFs.
Mhm.
And here's what I came up with. So I just want to quick, throw them out there for you guys. If we do either way, if we rally, I'm going to be making some purchases both on the stock market and in some crypto, and ride that rally. If
Where are you buying Bitcoin? Where are you going to start buying?
I'm going to buy, well, that's the other thing here. This actually, if I might not buy Bitcoin proper, but I might buy this. We talked about this last time. This
Oh, sure.
Beto. Yeah, I might buy the Beto and just,
Okay.
make some profit on the way up, however, high it takes us. But the other things that are looking, well, I don't know how this new regulation, I was telling Mike that the Biden administration was talking about really regulating the mining industry. and because of the use of energy and how it doesn't fall in line with, you know, their ideas of green technology. So I don't know if these are going to work out so well. But here are the miners. Mara is one of them. So here's Mara. Now I bought Mara back when it was $3. I had no idea that it was tied to Bitcoin. I thought it was Marathon Oil. So I just bought and sold a quick profit back in like 2020, I think it was, or somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, it was in 2020. But anyways, I came back and visited, and really, I just, I was shocked when I saw it at like $50 or, wherever it went to. And then it even went higher, only to come to realize later on that I figured out it actually was tied to Bitcoin, and I found it's a miner. So that is a good one to either buy or sell. But the only concerning part is, are these guys going to be able to adjust with new regulation? My question is, would it be worth trying to buy this kind of company, or you may not want to be buying this because for all we know, the regulation is going to affect their entire model, and suddenly they're not going to be able to even turn a profit. So this might be one, though, if you were looking to short a company, this might be one if you felt like maybe they couldn't adjust to the regulation, and now we see the price going further down because of that. This would be a good one maybe to short. And same for the others. We have the Riot one here. There's another blockchain.
Yeah, Riot got destroyed, down like 75%.
Yeah, and I don't know if we're going to see them now. Here's the other interesting thing that I liked looking at. When you go here on the right, you can see the fundamental data, and I came to realize that a lot of these blockchain companies, these miners, are not making money. They're losing money. Look at the profit margin, negative 3.72%. Let's go to Mara. That's another one. This one is they've never been profitable. Look at this, negative 24% profit margin. Let's go to CAN. These guys make money. CAN. So that's one to note. These guys are profitable.
What about Hive? Are you able to look up Hive?
Sure. We talked about Hive years ago.
Yeah, I was in that for a while.
Yeah, and you were in it when they weren't making money, but look at them now, 63% profit margin.
What are we trading at, $3?
Yep, they're at $3. So if regulation would know, these guys are out of Canada, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it may not even affect. I guess the Canadian regulations are totally different. So it may or may not even affect what they're doing.
Most of their mining is happening globally. Most of the mining is happening like Iceland.
And yep. I remember this now.
Switzerland. I mean, they got all sorts of places all over the globe.
Right. Look at how high they went. Well, I mean, just like if you laid Bitcoin right over it, it's Bitcoin, right? So anyways, the point is that if you don't want to own Bitcoin proper, but you want to put your toe in the water, just buy up, maybe a couple of shares of something like, one of these mining companies, if you think the price of Bitcoin's going up.
Well, but the thing is with the mining, you gotta understand. I think you gotta understand the fundamentals. Maybe you don't. I don't know. Maybe it's just the meme idea of mining.
Maybe.
But, the thing that turned me off about Hive was how much video card usage that they were using.
Yeah.
And that's Ethereum is basically what they're mining.
Mm-hmm.
They're subcontracting to a cloud service for their Bitcoin mining. They continue to buy card mining. So, I mean, the graphics cards are only useful for so long. Those things fall off.
I see.
And you can still do stuff with them, but they end up taking more energy.
Their efficiency, is starting to go down.
That's the word I needed. Yeah, efficiencies do decline.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, right now Hive is profitable, so I like to look at that, just the profitability standpoint. But the funny part is, you're right. You look at Mara, and if Bitcoin's going up, the price of Mara is going up. So does it matter in the short term? Probably not. But if it's something, I guess you go ahead.
One of the other things to look at, though, from a profitability standpoint is going to understand what do the reserves look like. How, is Hive selling off reserves in
Yeah,
order to buoy their market price? And then these other
that's the
ones that are
thing.
currently losing money, do they have massive reserves that they'll be able to sell off during a rally and then all of a sudden be able to, ratchet significantly forward and bolster those books?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many different facets just to the idea of mining and how these companies could be running, and then what they could possibly pivot into.
Holy cow! Look at the quarters. Wait, this is all last year data. Okay, looks like last year they did well. They got some really high profit margin. Now that's something I didn't look at. I was just looking at the annual. Boy, I wish I could get more current data. Interesting. Anyways, yeah, that's something to look at. If price of Bitcoin goes up and a guy wants, now I wonder if you're hooked up on a brokerage, like I'm on TradeStation and I have also, what's the other one? No, the ones.
NinjaTrade.
Yeah, I have NinjaTrader too, but I'm thinking of the one that runs Thinkorswim. That's TD Ameritrade. I have a TD Ameritrade, and they're offering it's zero commissions. So it's not like when you go to Coinbase or Binance, you pay that fee, the brokerage fee, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, this might be a way that someone can actually hop into these, sort of get Bitcoin exposure without paying, the Bitcoin fee to get into it. Just an idea.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to say that they're saying that the miners, I was reading an article today, are a lot of them got in, the newer ones that got into it recently are, they're hurting for money. So they're selling a lot and could be part of the cause of the downturn.
Oh, I see. They're the contributors to the sellers that
Yeah.
are putting pressure on the price of Bitcoin.
I could see that.
Sure.
Yeah, so there would need to kind of be a shakeout on the mining side in order to get the profitable miners.
Yeah, and I don't know.
over.
Yeah, and well, these are just the miners that are publicly traded. I mean, imagine how many miners there are that are privately owned. I mean, there's got to be a lot of them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. We talked about the Beto, Mara, Riot, Can, and then this one we didn't cover, but this is Clean Spark. They're another what do you call it, mining operation.
The ProShares Inverse Bitcoin ETF.
Now, is that out?
No, I think we talked about that last time.
They're coming out though. You looked it up. They said they're coming out soon.
Yeah, they applied for, I don't know.
Yeah,
license
to get listed. Yeah, to get listed. Yep, and I'm sure we're going to see more like that. There's going to be, I'm sure. And these are just the ones that I looked up quick that were miners. I kind of looked up ones that were like, Mara. So anyways, yep, I just wanted to leave you guys with that. And, I'm going to be watching these closely during the summer here to look for hints that we might have a turnaround or a downward move, right?
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be coming. I would rather have it just come sooner than later, though.
Well,
yeah.
Don't
Cool,
trade
I
out
suppose.
the hopium.
Yeah, right. Yep.
We just talked about
Yep, I got the hopium.
This sideway action just kills me.
I know.
But
Well,
we have to do something, though. It's like 29 days in the range of like 32 to 28.
We just talked about it last month, or I think it was last year. The same thing happened in Bitcoin. We saw the almost identical same thing. Mid May ran all the way until mid to late June, and right back here we had this consolidation occur. We're kind of looking at the same thing, but look what happened after. We had a rally, and everybody just gets crazy when that happens.
right.
When money starts piling in and bidding,
Have a
you know,
good
bidding
night.
the price up,
All
um,
right, later.
that could very well happen again.
Yeah, hopefully. Okay, well,